Welcome to the SWBL podcast presented by 1356 Public House. And tonight I am joined by co-captains of the SWBL Rockies, Brian Kenny and Blake Spencer. Fellas, how you been?
Been good. Ready for season 22 to start.
Been pretty good. Been pretty good. It's good to see you guys.
It's good to see you too. It's nice for me because I get to chat with a lot of guys throughout the off season and catch up with them, and so it's always good talking with you guys and having you on, and just talking with football and having fun. So as usual, guys, we're gonna talk through the roster, the schedule, the division, kind of recap last year, and just have some fun, talk some with football. So with that, let's start with looking at last season 21. It was a big bounce back for the Rockies. I think a lot of people, I don't know if they were completely counting you out, but with the fall you'd had the year before going 2-8, nobody really knew what to expect, and I think they were waiting for, some of your newer guys to take shape, and that's what happened. I mean, Jason Worstenholm had an amazing season, broke into the top 22, and Chad Young was phenomenal on the mound, winning Cy Wiffle. Blake, you got back up into the top 10. So what do you guys, remember? What are your thoughts about last season real quick? And just, the way you guys were able to turn everything around.
I guess I'll start here, Blake. I think the story of last year was really Jason and Chad. Obviously, Chad, Cy Wiffle, just a beast out there with the knuckleball. And Jason, we knew he had it in him. The success he has at MoWiff, it was just a matter of time. And, it all clicked. And then, Blake does what he does every year. And so having, a great compliment behind him with Jason and then a stud pitcher, it was just, night and day from season 20.
Yeah, Brian, Brian said it all, but I came into last year probably the most nervous I've ever been going into one season, just due to the fallout of the year prior, and I did not want two data points pointing to that trend. So it was a huge bounce back.
Yeah, it was a great turnaround. Obviously, you guys have a championship pedigree. You've won multiple championships. And your core hasn't turned. I mean, it's changed a bit, but you two have been the focal point of the team. You had Grant Boyd, you had oh crap, Breida, sorry. Had Breida there for a long time, but then Breida retired. You brought in some new guys, and I think we've seen it take even guys who are nationally recognized and some of the better fast pitch players in the nation come into this league, and it take a while to find success. And maybe that was the case for Adam and Jason, but really, man, they turned it on, and yeah, Chad was just awesome. He was so tough to hit. I don't know. I didn't look up any of the stats from like a run differential standpoint, but man, he was holding teams to low scores, low numbers there, which kept you guys in games. Even if you struggled out the gate, it kept you guys in the game to be able to get into that groove. And then once the hitting took off, you guys were on fire and a really tough team to beat. And so, yeah, got you into that wild card game, which you end up winning against the Astros to move on. So not only do you kind of turn it around, but you also get a playoff victory out of it too. So what do you remember, I guess, about that game or about the playoffs from last year? And then kind of what do you want to build off of for going into this season from last year?
The game with the Astros, that was a huge playoff win for us. Astros are, never to be taken lightly at all. That's a great crew, especially as those MoWiff guys are getting more familiar. And on the same line with Adam and Jason,
Yeah.
and with Tony this year coming in, starting off where Jason was the year prior, which, there's always a curve with the MoWiff, so you can never take the Astros lightly. And I think the competition this year, among others, continually just gets on equal levels and tougher as each year goes by.
Yeah, it was a good playoff run, getting a win. You obviously never want to make the playoffs and then just exit right away. So getting a win was great. And then I think it was the Yankees we lost to. And
Yeah.
if I recall, it was a close game whenever you're going up against, Gus and the Polies and Bacula. I mean, you never expect to win. So just staying close was good, and hopefully, if we make it there this year, we get lucky with some homers and Chad pitches lights out, and we make it to the finals. But it's a good run, can't complain. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's talk about the roster now that we're going into season 22. So, as I said, I mean, you haven't had a ton of turnover over the past couple years, but you've got a few moves this year. Obviously, Grant Boyd, he announced his retirement from the league, and hopefully he comes back and hangs out over there by with the squad over there by first base. Not sure what his plans are, but before we get further down, just talk about Grant, his impact on the team, and what kind of his loss is going to mean for the Rockies.
Sure. Yeah. We'll very much miss Grant. He's been with the Rockies since.
Oh, I think we lost him.
since the beginning, I believe. He was a great teammate. He was the glue of the team, I would say, in Shantytown. Just
Yeah.
always even keel, ready to do some Yokums and some Stokums. And he'll be missed. I think we can make up for it in terms of play with Tony. So I don't think we're worse off as a wiffle ball team, but losing him, it hurts. He's been a part of the Rockies for probably 10 years, and we'll miss him. Hope he comes back to Shantytown.
Yeah.
I know the trip from KC, on Monday night is always tough. So I think he needed a break, but we'll always welcome him back if he ever decides to unretire.
Yeah. I'd love to see him come out of retirement. He's so much fun to be around and just easy to get along with, and you're right, he's been the glue for your team for a long time, and he's one of the few people. I think it was announced when he announced his retirement, but he spent 10 years with one team, never played for a different team, so he was always a Rocky for a whole decade, which is pretty impressive. Most people who have been in the league and then call it quits can't say that they've only been with one team, so that's pretty great. So and then, yeah, you mentioned Tony. Tony's your rookie coming in, has played over at Mo Whiff. So I guess, talk about Tony, kind of what his role is sort of shaping out to be, and what you're kind of expecting out of him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Blake's back. Blake knows a lot more, so I'll let him talk.
Oh, it's funny. I started my answer about Grant and I kept talking and then I came back and Brian was like, "Oh, we lost him." So like I realized I was talking to nobody.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we'll see if my connection's gonna stay in. But anyways, yeah, Tony Lawa is the league that I believe he was in, which is somewhere I believe in O'Fallon. I know I don't know much about the league, but I met him through MoWith, and he's a quality player over there. He's I would say a top 5 player in MoWith. Great fast pitch, medium pitch in his original league. That's something new. So
Okay.
he's only played fast pitch, but he's a solid hitter and a solid fast pitcher. We'll put his limits to the test with medium pitch at some point in time, but very excited about him.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, he was a guy who had interest from other teams too. When he registered, I knew of at least 2 other teams that were considering drafting him. But I think there was I don't know Tony. I haven't talked to Tony, but I think there was mutual interest to join that team. And so it seemed that the other interest went away. But I think there's a lot of people that are excited to see what he can do in the SWBL. And it's interesting to hear maybe that he's going to get some innings. So just to go through the rest of the roster so we can wrap it up. But, obviously you two still on the team and running the squad. You've got Chad coming back and your ace there. And then Adam North and Jason Worstenholm, who we've mentioned previously. Jason, again, is coming off of a fantastic year. And one thing I did want to kind of bring up when you talk about Tony pitching, but Jason has sort of kind of come into that number 2 pitching role. Is that sort of how you view it? I mean, I was looking at some of his stats, and he's pitched 13 and a half and 14 and a half innings over the last 2 years. He's got 2 wins both seasons, and he's had 5 strikeouts both seasons. So he's had some success. And I'm just curious, like, is that sort of solidifying? Because I know, Blake, you've pitched quite a bit for the Rockies over the past couple years. Is the rotation kind of getting more solidified in Chad and then Jason, or are you still sort of playing around with Adam, maybe pitching a little bit here and there, having, Tony take a couple innings? It seems like might be the plan too. What's the plan with the rotation?
Brian,
Yeah,
do you
I
want to
think
start on this?
yeah, I think Jason's pretty locked into the number two role. The first time he pitched in SWBL, he had some weird radar gun issues. It was just a complete anomaly. I don't know if it's just where his arm slot was and release point, but like every single one was over 55, even if he lobbed it in. So that kind of took us away from him pitching for a little bit. But I think like I said, it was a complete anomaly, like because he wasn't over 55. And then I think last year he came in and pitched some good innings, and I think he's our best bet to follow behind Chad as our number two.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's, Adam started actually 2 years ago, started pitching, had some strike zone issues last year, but if he were to put it together, I haven't really talked to him about if he's, tried to correct that during the off season, but he's a threat too.
Mm-hmm.
Tall lefty, and lefties in this league just tend to have success, and especially from the angle that he pitches, that's another piece we could put together.
Yeah, you definitely have depth at the pitching level. I mean, again, I'm throw you out there. I I don't like facing you. Not that I've hit a lot lately, but I always hated your slider. It just seemed to cut in on me on the corner every time. Maybe every time I faced you, you were just so on it, sucked. But you can pitch. You've had a lot of success in this league. Adam, Jason, Chad, obviously being amazing, and now Tony. Like, really, the only guy who's probably not pitching is Brian. And there's no reason to pull him out of left field. So you've got a lot of
We'll
depth
see.
if somebody
We'll
does
see.
struggle. Yeah, hey, you feel free to pitch, buddy. I'd love to see it.
You never know. You never
Yeah.
know.
Um, so with the bounce back, have going into season 22, have your goals changed at all? Are they, I mean, I assume they've changed slightly, but what are the goals this year?
Well, unlike last year, the expectations were lower last year. I think the bar for the expectations is certainly high for this year. And I believe that if we were to make it to the playoffs, and getting to the playoffs is really not easy. I mean, just with all the teams, just, every like I said, every year it gets better and better. But I feel like, especially versus the Yankees last year, when if we have Chad on the mound, if we have our top four hitters, rolling in one playoff game, it's gonna be a championship caliber run if we do, you know, unless we really drop the ball. I feel like we could make a run, but every year is different. Making the playoffs is so random. We're, you know, in the division with the Orioles, who's a powerhouse. So, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Cardinals. You hear it every year. Just you got to get to the playoffs and then get lucky. It hasn't worked out for them recently, but I think that's really the best way to look at it in a league that's so deep. You just got to get in and then hope your ace carries you or you get hot at the plate. So I know we don't have the most talent in the league. It's kind of hard to match with the Orioles or the Yankees. So really, we just got to get hot at the right time and just make it to the dance.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys bring up a point that's been pretty consistent over the last few years, but it seems to be an even bigger point this year is just the parity that the teams getting stronger and stronger every year. It really is starting to become like, hey, anything can happen any given year. We used to say that, but you know, it was pretty certain who the 5 or 4, playoff teams were going to be, 5 or 6 years ago. There was definitely a gap between the teams who made the playoffs and the teams who didn't. And now it seems like we have different teams making it every year. The tiers get shifted up. I know that, the top 3 teams have been the top 3 teams for a few years, but they're not immune. I mean, they lose games. They're not going 10-0. Anybody can beat any team any given day. So you're right. It's tough. And I think that's what makes the league even more fun now too, because you can't really take anybody lightly. I mean, I think on paper, people are going to say the Expos are the worst team in the league, but they've won a championship and they still have their ace who, until Chad came in, was the best knuckleballer, and has the most strikeouts in the league over the last like 5 years. And if he's on, it's hard to beat the Expos. So yeah, that parity is there, and hopefully we get a lot of shakeup, and last year I think we had 4 teams fighting for those last 2 spots going into Monday, basically, and the year before was the same kind of thing. We had 3 teams fighting for that 5 spot. And so it's been a lot more difficult, but again, that makes it, like I said, more fun. So you mentioned, your division. So let's jump there. You're in the Cardinal Blinds and Shutters division with the Orioles and the A's. So a new division for you this year, new teams. What did you think of the draw that you got? You happy with it? Any concerns? Just overall thoughts on your division.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, whoever's tier one, I mean, I didn't say the Twins earlier, but they're right there in the same caliber as the Orioles and the Yankees. So, whoever you get, it doesn't matter. You're tier one team. You'll be lucky to win 1 game. And
Hmm.
that's what you just hope to split. And then, tier 3 athletics, you never know what they can bring. Paul's a monster. He can hit 4 homers in a game. So there's no easy wins, but it's a fun division. I'm excited. You always try and win 2 against the tier 3 and try and split if you're a tier 2 team, and then split with the tier 1. So walk out of there with 3 wins against the division. But that's tough. But that's the goal.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's when we're game 1 versus the Expos, an entire season can hinge on the game 1, and it's so pivotal to where like 1 loss against the Expos in the game 1 is just like, everybody's confidence is completely shaken. So that's a huge game for us.
Yeah. Blake, you should be hosting this because you keep leading me right to my next question every time. It's perfect. So I don't have to worry about transitions or anything. It's great. So yeah, let's talk. Yeah, let's talk game 1. Let's talk the schedule. So the Expos, you guys have obviously been hanging out over there by Shantytown. You've built a bit of a relationship, but they called you out. And I think it was mostly because of that relationship and how much fun you guys have together. But they've been in the game 1, I think, since we started it. They take a lot of pride being in that game. They, I think, are 3-1 or 2-2 in that game, so they've had success. So yeah, talk about just that matchup, game 1. You assume you're going to get Jimmy on the mound there, so it'll be knuckleball versus knuckleball, I assume, and maybe not. Maybe you guys got something up your sleeve, but just yeah, the importance of that game, like you alluded to. What are your thoughts going into that game, and then what does a win do to propel you into the season?
Yeah, I mean, with 2 powerhouse pitchers on the mound, Jimmy and Chad with those knuckles, it's going to be a low scoring game. And with low scoring games, anything can happen. They're never to be taken lightly. I think we won by a pretty small margin versus them last year. But yeah, it's just Jimmy. It's tough. It's just really tough, and I hope Chad brings it in game 1 as well. So I don't know what more about to say to that. What to say
Yeah.
than
Unfortunately, I think Chad is going to miss the game, so it won't be
Oh
knuckle versus
no.
knuckle, which is unfortunate. It's like Blake said, against a tier 3 team, even though they're former champions and they got some great players. It's a must win basically. And Jimmy, I think he's led off each of the last 2 years with a home run in game 1, if I recall correctly. So, and facing Jimmy, it's tough. So it's going to be a tough game and it's a must win. So, we're looking forward to it, but yeah, hope to come out strong, play well, get a good start from Jason. But yeah, it's a must win early. So
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you can tell one of the captains is unprepared today. Not knowing Chad wasn't going to make game one. I forgot about that.
It's all
I don't
good,
know what he's
man.
got going on, but yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, like you said, you've got depth. So, we'll see who you throw out there, and it'll be a surprise for everybody, including the Expos. So, looking at the rest of your schedule, the thing that kind of stuck out to me, I mean, it's pretty balanced. You've got the early game before the season. You've got your standard game on opening night. You're actually the last game that night against the A's, so you get your first division game that night. You've got 4 games Saturday, three games Sunday, and then the one game, first game of the day on Monday. So, the thing that kind of stuck out to me was when you're looking at last year's playoff teams, they're all bunched together right in the middle. That's your Saturday. You've got the Orioles, the Astros, the Twins, and the Yankees all on Saturday. So on paper right now, and looking at last year's, playoff teams, that's your sort of tougher day in a sense. But then, I mean, even the next day, you've got the Marlins, the A's, and the White Sox. So teams that are going to vie and push for a playoff spot too. So, yeah, I mean, that was sort of the thing that kind of stuck out to me. Have you had a chance to really kind of digest the whole schedule at all, or even just thoughts on what I brought up?
Yeah, I'm digesting what you just said, and it sounds like we need to start 2-0 because it could be an 0-4 Saturday if things go poorly. I mean, we have Chad, so you got to expect we win at least one of those games, hopefully two. But yeah, we got to start out hot, go 2-0 on game one, and then opening night, and then just hope to steal one against a tier one team, and hope to beat your Astros.
Yep.
I'm just learning about this information as well, so I will be digesting this after the call.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, you got a tough Saturday, but again, like that competition is still there. The Marlins on Sunday, the White Sox on Sunday, and then you're back against the Orioles, which depending on how the rest of the season goes, that could be for the division. You never know. Like you said, anything can happen. Doesn't mean the Orioles are going to be walking away with it. Um, so, that could be you've been in those games recently. 3 years ago, I think. Was it 3 or 4? It was we were in the same division, and it came down to the last game that we played each other for the division title. So you guys have been in games with the Brewers, back in the day, and where it came down to that last head-to-head game making the division. So that Monday could be pivotal too. And like we always say, it's that hot team, the team that can get hot can really make a run in the playoffs. So yeah. Any other games that you think you got to have circled besides the first two?
Nothing in particular. I think we do need to steal at least one from a tier one team, hopefully from the Orioles, preferably from the Orioles, and then maybe knock the Twins off, which is impossible for us. I don't know if we've ever beaten the Twins. I think we've had decent luck against the Yankees, so win one against the Orioles, win against the Yankees, and then just do what we're supposed to do against the tier two and tier three teams, and it's what we need to do. But yeah, there's no easy win in this league, no matter who the opponent is. So got to go out every day and just hope to get lucky.
Yeah, yeah. Watch out for Peter Light this year on the Orioles. He's been hitting the gym pretty hard, building that hot yoga.
Has he really? I've heard rumors Gus is lifting too, so maybe he got really upset that Scott won the MVP over him last year, or just, so who knows? Everybody's bulking up now. So,
The muscles are
um,
going to screw him up. He's not going to be used to it, and his swing's going to be off.
I hope so. I hope he just comes in just like jacked and can't, straighten his arms out and anything.
Yeah, he
So,
can't hit at Oppo tacos anymore. He's going to be
yeah,
nothing but pulling.
yeah, I would love that. That'd be great. All right, well, let's do some predictions. Um, let's talk about the power rankings. And I know the power rankings, I don't know if you've seen them. the power rankings for pitching, fielding, and hitting just came out, but the overall team rankings have not, and that's kind of where I want to stay. So where do you think you'll be ranked in the power rankings, and where should you be ranked?
What have the White Sox done? I know they lost Jackson. Did they make an addition?
They added David Olderman. So, and then they drafted oh shoot, what's his name?
Is it
The
Ryan or
Ryan O'Rear, thank you. Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna be real good. I'd say we're probably gonna be fifth, maybe fourth. I think that's fair.
That's my guess. Fourth or fifth.
You think that's where you should be too, Blake?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, let's pick some winners, some division winners. Okay, and I'm gonna have you pick the division winners for the other two divisions. So in the Corner Pub and Grill division, you've got the Twins, the Astros, and the White Sox.
Can't go against the Twins. I mean, they got, in my mind, 3 top 5 players. So, and Will is an ace. So, Twins.
Twins.
Twins. Okay, and then Cutting Eye Center, Yankees, Marlins, Expos.
Hate to be boring, but the Yankees. There's a clear top 3 in the league, even though it is a lot of parity, but a clear top 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, it is boring, but it is what it is. Until somebody proves them wrong, right? All right, pick your 2 wild card teams.
Rockies and White Sox.
I'll go Astros and Rockies.
Okay. So does that mean the Orioles win your division?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right. That takes us to hard hitters. So just for the sake of time, what we're going to do is we're going to alternate who goes first each time. So the first question, Brian, you'll go first. The second question, Blake, you'll go first, but you're both going to answer each question, okay? All right. What is the final record for the Rockies?
7-3.
Ooh.
6-4.
Who is the team MVP for season 22?
Blake.
You were supposed to let Blake go first.
I'll say let's go with Tony.
Tony, the rookie. And then you're sticking with Blake. Okay. Sticking with Blake. All right. What's your favorite TV show? Or what are you watching right now that you really like? Yeah.
Probably my top show of all time. Kind of hard to say after only one season, but Severance, Apple TV Plus. Currently finishing Masters of the Air, also on Apple TV Plus.
I've been wanting to watch that. Haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. It's worth watching.
Yeah. It's Band of Brothers style, right?
Yeah.
Severance was amazing. That's in my top 5. I hate to be boring with the Friends or The Office, but I'm gonna go with underrated show called Bloodline on Netflix.
Okay.
Season 1 is one of my favorite seasons of TV ever.
Cool. All right. Who will lead the league in home runs in season 22? Player.
Sam Skibby.
Oh, Gad.
All right. Your least favorite team to play against?
Twins, easily.
I'm gonna go with the Orioles.
Cool. What is your favorite tradition of your team?
It's it's tough to say any traditions only because half the team, well, like 80% of the team now is like only within 2 to 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I just like being knowing that we're in Shantytown now. Um, and I don't know, just standard. I don't know if we have any traditions, do we, Brian?
Belly button rubs. That's number one for me.
Yeah, that's the OG Rockies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very unique to you. I like that one. All right. Who will lead the league in strikeouts as a pitcher in season 22?
It's easy. Mr. Chad Young.
Oh, I thought you were going to say me when you said it was easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Chad too.
It's good. I'd put money on it. All right. Who's going to lead the league in strikeouts as a hitter in season 22?
As a hitter, let's go with Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, Jimmy.
I think he's done it for a couple years too. So it's a good pick too. All right. Who wins the championship?
Twins.
Rockies.
I like it.
Nice. All right. You guys are the captain, you're co-captain, so you're going to do this one together, okay? So, choosing between Chad Young, Adam North, and Jason Worstenholm, you have to start one player, bench one player, and trade one player.
I don't
Oh
know how
man.
we timed this.
Just
Oh man,
yeah,
that's,
I'm
Chad, we're starting because he's an ace. It's hard to replace an ace. Blake, I'll let you pick the
oh,
sit.
I mean, there's no good answer to benching because they're all incredible, but just based on the season that Jason had last year, just got to bench Adam, but would hate to.
but that would mean you have to
No,
trade Jason.
yeah. You wanna bench
Oh,
Jason.
bench. Okay, I was gonna ask the three, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, that's really tough. I do
Yeah,
not like this one.
it's not
That's a
fun.
mean question, Brian.
It is a mean question. And I took the two of you out of the options because it would be easy to be like, well, I'm going to bench myself and I'll trade, BK or something, and so you don't have to be mean. But all right, well there you hear it. So Jason's safe and Adam's going somewhere else. So all right, well that is going to do it for this interview with the co-captains of the Rockies. I want to thank our sponsors real quick: 1356 Public House, Cardinal Blinds and Shutters, Ketting Eye Center, Corner Pub and Grill, Spencer Gear, Chilled Designs, Breck Ever Dolce Vita, Four Hands Brewery, Logix, and Johnny Pops. We've got some more team interviews coming. We'll have the season preview, probably a power rankings episode as well before the season starts, but we are getting closer and closer to Memorial Day and season 22. So with that, guys, any final thoughts? Why don't you just get us out of here?
Yeah, thanks,
Sure.
Brian, for having us on. It was good to kind of redigest wiffle ball, having not thought about it for a while. So yeah, just looking forward to season 22. Maybe we'll beat the Twins this year. It's a first for everything. So that's what I want to do.
Yeah, some random thoughts is a few interesting variables coming at play are the allergies have been crippling in the past week or two. I don't know if anybody else is feeling it. Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
that subsides because it's basically like for people who have bad allergies, it's basically like COVID at this point. That's one variable that I hope is not impacted in wiffle ball weekend. Second would be the cicada spell that is supposed to be the worst on record for I don't know how many years. I don't know if you guys remember. I want to say it was probably 13 years ago where the cicadas were out in full force on the fields. They were everywhere. And uh, I don't know if
That's
we were taking stats at the time, but I probably had the worst season of all time. So if cicadas are out in full force, I do not know what the season's going to hold at all.
Blake's
that's
gonna
not
be
great.
no, I wasn't in the well, No, I wasn't in the league if it was 13 years ago. So now, yeah, we're gonna see Blake up there hitting with like a bee suit on. So
A bee suit.
yeah,
I might have to, man, I might have to come prepared with a bee suit. Jeez.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't
Um,
even think about it. That's gonna be wild. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully the weekend misses the worst part of that. So well, guys, I appreciate you coming on and doing this like you do every year. It's always fun to talk with you and get to see you again. So yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you at the Blur.
Sounds good,
absolutely.
Brian.
Can't
Thank you
wait.
very much. Yeah, can't wait to see you guys. You guys
All
take
right.
care until then.
Yep. Thanks.